Hi there. My name is Daniel Colaianni from the Academy of International Extended Reality, AIXR. I have an extensive background when it comes to immersive technology, first fallen in love with the technology when I was doing freelance marketing over 7 years ago. Since then, the industry has come a very long way. And well, we're here to talk about what the metaverse means now. The metaverse in particular has become a buzzword that many of you that are watching this today will be aware of. However, I wanted to get behind those buzzwords. I wanted to get into the nitty-gritty of what that actually means. So today we're going to explore 1 billion people in a box here at Filmteractive Festival, and we're really going to get to the root of what does that mean for us as human beings? And also, how's that going to affect us from careers, from the future of immersive entertainment, through to everything in between. Now, first of all, I get asked this question a lot. What is the metaverse? And I can reassure you that with hundreds of hours spent on this, that not even myself nor Mark Zuckerberg can tell you what the metaverse is right now or what it is going to be in the future. The key thing is, the first thing that you have to ask yourself before you can ask what is the metaverse is, what does it mean to be human? Now, bear with me here for a moment because this might sound a little bit abstract, but I can reassure you that this is a very crucial and important question that we must ask ourselves to be able to understand truly the potential of what the combination of immersive technology with the future of the web infrastructure really means to the future of us. One crucial thing about us as human beings is we interact with the world in 3-dimensional space. This means when we look back to our ancestors, they were picking things up, they were touching things, they were not using a screen to interact with the world, but they were literally physically interacting with the world around us. As human beings, we also crave connectedness. We're social creatures. Whether you are an introvert or an extrovert, there is no denying that as human beings, we require social connectedness. In fact, this is one of the main reasons why some of the largest social media companies in the world are investing so much money into the metaverse and immersive technology. When you combine what we know today with 2D screen-based interactions, with 3-dimensional immersive interactions, and that crucial infrastructure layer of social connectedness, this is when we start to actually unlock what the potential of the combination of these technologies start to bring. This is where we get to explore being human. Okay, let's rewind a little bit. In less than 5 minutes, I'm going to give you the fundamental understandings into the key terminology that we as specialists in this space use on a daily basis. This is going to cover areas like immersive technology, Web3, and my personal favorite, and one that many others don't use, called real time. And this is all about the digital interactions between these 3 layers of technology that allow us to create truly immersive environments, experiences, social connections, and 3D interactions. Okay, so let's explore immersive technology. What does that mean? Well, for me, that's all about the senses. How do we view things? How do we smell things? How do we taste things? How do we hear things? The senses that bring virtual worlds alive. Now, the great thing about this can include things like virtual reality, where virtual reality closes off the real world around us and creates fully immersive computer-generated environments, and augmented reality, which actually utilizes the physical world around us and digitally overlays onto that. At its most basic level, it's things like Pokemon Go, your Instagram filters, and everything in between. But in fact, the audio components, as just one example here, make up a staggering 60% of an experience. If you were to close your eyes and be able to listen to the world around you, you can paint a pretty accurate 3D picture of what that world looks like to you. So when you start combining the visual elements with auditory elements, well, we're already starting to supercharge experiences. But it doesn't stop there. Things like haptics, as example, that's all about how we feel things. So is something soft to the touch? Is something hot? How are we picking things up? Everything like that also contributes to experiences. Now, look, we could dive into this for days on end because there's also other elements like being able to smell things and taste things as well. But let's be honest, that technology is just a little bit the way off right now, which is why we can choose to focus on the three key elements of visual components, haptics, and also audio. So what about that other key buzzword area? I hope you have your buzzword bingo cards out because that's Web3 technology. I was in a debate last week where someone was posing the question, is Web3 just the metaverse? And then I was asked another question the other day, whereas does the metaverse need Web3 to survive? As you can see, both of those questions there are at opposite ends of each other. The biggest problem of all is actually knowing the right information when it comes to this. This is why, from my perspective and AIXR's perspective, we look at Web3 as a fundamental technology layer to enabling the infrastructure of Metaverse. Yes, theoretically, Web3 doesn't need to exist to create immersive experiences. However, it will enable the key governance components, the key ownership components, and the key infrastructural elements that enable these environments to be autonomous and independent. Now, we can take NFTs as an example. This gets a really bad rep, and you know what? Rightly so, because there's a lot of fluctuation in the market and scam artists out there who utilize the hype train and the gold rush of this technology, just like the early days of virtual reality and 360 video content. But utility NFTs have a very key place in proving ownership over assets and being able to unlock virtual environments for us to be able to interact with. The same goes for blockchains themselves. Entire network infrastructures will be able to run on interoperable blockchain networks, which allow people to connect into different environments. And one thing I want to change your mind on right now, and I'm going to dive in a little bit deeper on, is the fact that it's not just taking ourselves from the physical world into the virtual world. This is also technology fundamentally unlocking the virtual world into the physical world. When we look at the rules of the metaverse, well, if we can call them that at this stage, let's call them key principle fundamentals. When we look at these, one thing becomes clear, that the metaverse cuts across every single industry. There's a common misconception in this space that this technology only really applies to video games, media, films, and entertainment. When in fact, if we look at our very own awards show that AIXR hosts every year, the majority of applications that we receive are from major networks in enterprise, training, healthcare, pharmaceutical, education, everywhere except for games. The games market has its place, and that's the very consumer-orientated market. But actually the area that makes a lot of money in this space, well, that is the enterprise sectors. So think of this as a technology that has deep roots within games, media, and entertainment, but in fact spans wildly across every single imaginable area that you can think of in this world. One key principle that others may not agree with is, well, let's face it, this space is overhyped. Any new technology has the tendency to create a hype train that people jump on board. So naturally, brands are going to jump on it quick. And you know what? Some are going to die out. But it's the little golden nuggets of people that stay in this space and understand this space, find the utilities and those killer apps that then take us from going up, down, all the way up again. So what I would like to implore as a key principle is don't fall into this trap that the word metaverse on your product is going to serve every single goal that you have, because it won't. In most cases, your technology or product won't need that. Your film won't need that. Your game won't need that. Forget it. There's no point. In fact, it's better to wait. But if you are an explorer, if you are a creative, and you do have that eye for understanding how technology can interweave into what you're doing, well, that's when it really matters to use this technology stack. One key principle that I hope we can all agree on is when we unlock that box, well, there's just one box. In fact, it's one big box with hundreds, thousands of tiny little boxes that are all interconnected. That one big box, that's the metaverse. Those little boxes inside, they are not metaverses. Metaverses doesn't exist. And remember earlier, I talked about taking physical worlds into virtual worlds and virtual worlds into physical worlds, enabling this two-way street of data information. Well, for that to be enabled, it always has to be persistent. It's a two-way street between physical and digital, and it's always switched on. It never turns off. And lastly, one key principle to take forward is this idea of interoperability. This is the idea that if I buy one object on this store or this platform, I can seamlessly, without any friction, bring it to another one. But it doesn't just apply to virtual goods. This also applies to physical goods. If I'm buying a product in real life and every day around us, that will seamlessly be able to transfer to me in my virtual environments as well. So that's the theory, of course, but I can understand that's a little bit abstract. So what does that look like to us in our everyday lives going forward? Let's jump into that. So let me paint a picture for you. A picture generated by artificial intelligence because, let's face it, I'm no artist. But let me paint a picture for you regardless. I wake up away from home. Maybe I'm staying at one of the many hotels that I stay in when I go to a conference. Maybe I'm at the Filmteractive conference. But needless to say, sometimes, I still get homesick. So I put on my connected eyewear. These are glasses that are sleek and no bigger than your everyday glasses that you might find on an individual walking on the street outside. The moment I put them on, I'm greeted with a collection of my artwork from home. Maybe these are real pieces that I actually have in my house that are brought with me into the virtual world, or maybe they're only digitally available to me. Regardless, because I'm staying at a hotel that I previously stayed at, one of the many chains, it's previously loaded my data and configuration of the room, and everything is neatly displayed just as how I would have it at home. This is truly now a home away from home for me. But now I need to start my walk to the exhibition centre. I have a talk to do today. So I take out my coat and I start walking along. But I kind of like history quite a bit. And this is a brand new city that I've never visited before. The history and culture of this city piques my interest. So I take a look around online for some guides or some information about the city. But rather than read Google to find out the history of this city, I want to enable an immersive interaction mode. So as I walk down the street, I start to see the world and the history of this place come alive through a convenient app that was commissioned by the local government and the local city. I'm able to interact with previous people from the city and learn directly. Then I reach the exhibition centre. The great thing about this is I don't need to go and register for a ticket. It's already connected to me with a utility-based NFT that's available to me from the real world and the digital world. I enter this exhibition and I'm instantly guided to where my next meeting needs to go. A convenient augmented map loads based on the ticket that I already have preloaded onto my screen. And conveniently around me, I'm able to see the names of the exhibition stands. I'm able to see the names of the speakers and the people that are around me. I can instantly add someone on LinkedIn and connect with them if we're having a great conversation. But exhibitions are loud. They're difficult to hear. And this is where the components of visually enabled elements do not just apply, because auditory superpowers also give me the ability to close off the world around me. I'm able to use noise cancellation features to focus only on the voices that I need to be able to hear. I'm heading towards my meeting, and then I realize, hang on a minute, this conversation here would be fantastic to bring my colleague from London in with. I instantly dial them and they instantly connect, standing there just as if I was standing next to them in real life. The great thing is the person that I'm speaking with is also wearing connected eyewear. This means that when I'm speaking with them, they're also speaking with my colleague in London, and we're having a three-way conversation with no interference whatsoever. But then I realized, I have another colleague from Prague that maybe needs to join. Now, he doesn't use connected eyewear, but this is the great thing about this future of technology, is it's interacting with traditional-based technology and the future of digital technology. So he joins from a phone and quite literally manifests himself in the form of an orb. But I get hungry. At events, I get very hungry. So I head off to this unknown place and I can't read the menu. The moment I look at the menu, the food is translated. I'm able to see it. But that's not even the best part of it. I'm able to quickly visualize what a plate looks like in front of me. I don't even have to speak to anyone. I can select it from there and the plate comes straight out to me. But so far we've explored a lot of AR elements. What about the VR elements? Well, this is the great thing is while I'm on the go, I also like to learn. Perhaps I'm learning French for the 5th time and I put on my glasses into a VR mode. I jump into my virtual online campus. Now this is where I close off the world around me to be able to focus, because this is something I need 100% dedication and focus time on. I jump in on this, but you know what? Being able to just have a lecture with a random person in front of me doesn't really count here. This is where I then connect in with someone and I actually practice in my language skills as if I'm directly standing in Paris in front of the Eiffel Tower, speaking to another individual. Maybe they're a baker and I'm trying to buy something from them. I'm actually able to learn and practice my skills interactively with real world context. It's a long day, it's the end of the day, so I head home and perhaps I want to watch a movie on a screen that's 10 times as big as what could fit into my hotel room. So I go into VR. Well, you know what? I'm human after all. So I just take off my glasses, I relax in the bath, and I go to sleep. So, while it's really easy for me to look at this through rose-tinted glasses, I'm also a realist when it comes to this technology and the way that it needs to be applied in the right ways, including the challenges that we must look at now before it becomes too late. Namely, we also have privacy, security, and safety concerns to look at. The privacy is all about how do we protect the data that we're sharing online through these digitally connected worlds, while security is more about how do we prevent against attacks on our digital security and our infrastructure that we have. And safety, well, let's face it, there's going to be this is a talk about billions of people. There's going to be billions of people digitally connected, physically and virtually. We're going to need to find a way to be able to police that, most likely through artificial intelligence. But that's not the biggest challenge of all. The biggest one is we don't have the skill set or people to fulfill the jobs in this sector. So this is probably one of the best times possible for you to explore your career and how you could apply your skill set to this amazing and vast sector. The great thing about it is you don't need to be just a coder, a programmer, an engineer to be able to get into this world. No, you could be a creative designer, you could be a filmmaker, you could be a producer, a director, a project manager, director of photography, the list goes on. Every job that we have within this existing world requires the talent and expertise within these virtual worlds as well. Digitally connected, as we've already talked about, is becoming more human. It's about connecting us to the work and the experiences that we already have and we are building on. The great thing about this is the barrier to entry to this is incredibly low, because most people are on their journey and the start of their career just like you. But It doesn't go without saying you need to do your research. There's hundreds of courses online for you to be able to understand, learn the technology, and you need to join communities of people. You need to network, you need to understand it, you need to use it, most importantly. Use the technology, understand it, buy a headset, get involved, go into some virtual worlds, try making something of your own. So, my only question left for you is, will you be the one to open the box? Thank you very much. My name has been Daniel Colaianni from AIXR, and I hope you have an amazing Filmteractive experience going forward.